Winter weather is now bearing down on our WJTS viewing area. We'll tell you what you can expect and how to be prepared for it. Plus, plans for the former Jasper Country Club property continue to take shape. We'll have more on that, and Glenn Weil with the College Success Coalition is our guest this evening on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin tonight with winter weather currently bearing down on our WJTS viewing area. The winter storm that we've all been hearing about over the last several days is now on its way to southwestern Indiana. The National Weather Service is calling for a mixture of freezing rain and sleet to start anytime across our area this evening through the overnight hours. A winter storm warning has been issued for most of, if not all of, southern Indiana at this point. That will take effect from 10 o'clock this evening until 1 o'clock on Saturday morning. The National Weather Service says the initial change over to a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain is expected to occur across southern Indiana later this evening. The precipitation will then transition again to just snow during the morning hours, with the heaviest snow forecast to pick up during the afternoon. Snowfall accumulations are calling for 4 to 8 inches across our area, with the heaviest of that expected to fall during the afternoon hours tomorrow. Forecasters say there will be a brief period during the late evening and overnight hours where freezing rain will make driving even more dangerous. Temperatures are expected to rapidly fall across the entire area tomorrow night. These conditions, in addition to already low temperatures, may cause roads to be extremely icy and will make travel conditions dangerous. With all the expected weather, state, county, and local street crews spent today putting plows on trucks and loading up on salt. Jasper Street Commissioner Ramey Eckerly says not being able to pre-treat the roads has changed the preparation for this storm to an extent.
So we can pre-treat and get that material working underneath there prior to any ice or snow coming down on it. That's a big plus for it, because once it bounds to the road, it just takes twice as much material and effort to get it back off again. So getting it down pre-treated is big. So we'll have to do it a little bit different way. We've done that before here, and the method has worked. It's just that timing factor of getting down at the right time, but yet not wasting a lot of salt and put down unnecessary salt.
Eckerly says the unpredictability of the weather makes the job of street crews that much more difficult.
The temperature this morning here now, we're at 45, I think, right about now. It's been dropping. The ground temperature this morning when I checked driving around town, we were at 55 degrees as far as ground temperature, so that's a plus for us. But when does that ground temperature on the top? It can get cold quick with that ice coming down and the temperature dropping, real low. So we got to get the material down just at the right time before we lose it.
With this significant winter weather system expected to make its way to Indiana this evening, the Indiana Department of Homeland Security is also encouraging folks to prepare in advance. Preparations include charging cell phones and other items in case power is interrupted, evaluating whether driving is necessary, taking your time if you decide to drive, and gathering items for your car and home in case they are needed. Those considering going out onto the roads this evening are advised to check the weather forecast and travel conditions prior to leaving and allow for any extra travel time. If driving during this storm is necessary, make sure you have a fully charged and functioning cell phone. A vehicle preparedness kit is also strongly encouraged. We will have more on the impending storm coming up during our weather forecast, which is later on in this broadcast. Now to other news this evening. Plans for the former Jasper Country Club property continue to take shape. During a public meeting held yesterday afternoon at Jasper City Hall, project consultants Barry Alberts of City Visions and David Gamble of Gamble & Associates presented their visions for the Country Club property to a full house in the council chambers. Gamble and Alberts' presentation laid out 13 points for transforming the Country Club site. Some of those key points were a publicly accessible site that's open all year round, an easily accessible place with a series of small distributed parking areas, and a transformation that would be implemented with flexibility and a change in mind. Gamble says the plans came about thanks to their work with the advisory team.
The country club site is a remarkable opportunity for the city, and I think that the committee that's been assembled from various diverse interests have tried to steer us in a certain direction over time that reaches the highest common denominator and doesn't necessarily come up with a plan that tries to achieve everything.
Gamble says both he and Alberts hope to be a part of the final design and implementation of any changes to the property. Meanwhile, Jasper Mayor Terry Seitz says both Gamble and Associates and City Visions did great work on this project. He says it's now up to the city and others to give the consultants what they need to move forward.
The conversation ensued between school board members and council members and things back and forth here about should we again now meet and look at what we could do to come together for this great asset. And we'll see, I think that may be where it's taken shape from too. Gamble Associates and City Visions did a very, very, very good job to get us to this point. And their work is not yet done, but I think they're going to need some input from us to kind of go to that next step.
The meeting did not come without debate, however. A portion of last night's meeting was spent debating the use of country club land by the Greater Jasper School Corporation for any future development. At the center of the issue is the possibility of a new elementary school for the corporation, stemming from the ongoing feasibility study being done for the corporation by Indianapolis-based Gibraltar Design. Gibraltar had stated at previous school board meetings that 15 acres of land would be their recommendation for a new school, and some folks have contacted city council members to express their concerns about such a purchase. Greater Jasper School Board President Nancy Habig says the school board never planned to do anything until the consultants had reached this point in their work. She says now that the consultants have reached this point, discussions between the school board and others are now necessary before further actions are taken.
That's where we are now, and I think Dr. Loy is correct. We need to sit down with their people and the council probably and discuss some of the what things would look like if we did actually purchase that portion of the property.
Habig also says the city and the school board need to look for win-win situations all around. She says she is hopeful that more in-depth discussions will take place as time goes on. New leadership will soon be in place at Forest Park Junior-Senior High School. Last night, the Southeast DuBois School Board announced that longtime Forest Park teacher and assistant principal Jim Mailing has been promoted as the school's new principal, while the board also appointed teacher and baseball coach Jared Howard as the assistant principal. Mailing replaces Jeff Jesse, who last month announced his retirement after 10.5 years at the school. Mailing, who is a 1977 graduate of Forest Park, attended Indiana State University on a baseball scholarship and received his degree in education from ISU in December of 1980. 1 month later, Mailing began his nearly 33-year career at Forest Park after accepting an invitation from longtime Superintendent Woody Beekler to return to his alma mater. Mailing taught math and helped to coach various sports, including spending 19 years as head baseball coach before moving into administration. He has served as the assistant principal at Forest Park for the last 10 years. Mailing says he's anxious to tackle his next role and continue working on building the tradition of Forest Park.
Hey, I'm looking forward to the next challenge. I don't know if it's a pinnacle or a next step or, where exactly I'm at, but it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I really appreciate the board giving me the opportunity to serve as the principal here at Forest Park. We've got, it's a great place. You hear that often, but it is a great place to work. I'm very familiar with the staff. We've got a lot of strengths to build on. We've got some things that we can do better, and I'm looking forward to exploring those things and trying to figure out how we can give our kids the best educational experience that they can have.
With Mailing taking over as the new leader at Forest Park, the Southeast Board named Howard to fill the assistant principal's post. A native of Kentucky, Howard is a 1993 graduate of McLean County, Kentucky High School. Like Mailing, Howard also went to college on a baseball scholarship and graduated from Oakland City University in 1998 with a degree in business education. He later earned his master's from Oakland City before obtaining an administration degree from the University of the Cumberlands in Williamsburg, Kentucky. Howard says he's ready to take the next step.
Well, I'm excited to get started. We've got a great school and a great community here, and I'm just lucky to be a part of something here at Forest Park, and I'm looking forward to getting started.
Howard is now in his 16th year at Forest Park and has spent the last 13 years as the school's baseball coach, which is a role that he plans to continue. The new appointments will take effect on January 1st. Finally this evening, a convicted Pike County murderer will have to wait a bit longer to hear of his fate. A resentencing hearing for Chris Helsley that was set for this upcoming Monday will now take place on April 21st of next year. The case is being handled by DuBois County Circuit Court Judge William Weichert. Weichert is hearing the case because Pike County Circuit Court Judge Jeffrey Biesterveld was prosecuting the case when Helsley was convicted, thus he had to recuse himself. Pike County Prosecutor Darren McDonald says the sentencing phase of the trial was originally set to take 3 days. However, Helsley's defense attorneys listed 16 witnesses and stated that it would probably take more than 3 days. Thus, the case was moved to April when more days are available on the court calendar. Now, Helsley was originally convicted of murdering then Pike County EMTs Brad Maxwell and Marcia Hale back in April of 2001. He filed a petition back in May of this year claiming that he had been inadequately represented both in the trial as well as in the sentencing phase. He also requested a hearing to overturn both the sentence and his conviction. On hearing day, Helsley and the state of Indiana reached a last-minute agreement which called for his conviction to be upheld, but his original sentence of life without parole would be overturned and retried. At that hearing, McDonald cited statements from Michael Keating, Helsley's attorney, concerning the original trial and his sentencing. Keating stated that he felt his trial defense was adequate, but the defense during the sentencing hearing might have been substandard. Coming up after the break, more on the winter weather in your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform featuring Glenn Weil with the College of Success Coalition. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.